Dr. Eggman, aka Robotnik, has been living on the Mushroom Planet for 243 days and at last completes his new machine to return him home. However, when he turns it on, he realizes that his plans haven't gone as expected, as a huge energy explosion occurs. A few hours later, a portal opens, and the doctor, who was passed out, is found by a group of soldiers. Suddenly, one of those men approaches and tries to steal Sonic's thorn, and Eggman awakens and activates his traps to kill the invaders. The villain defeats them all, and then runs off to the portal, saying goodbye to the Mushroom Planet. However, just as he's about to go through it, he comes across Knuckles. The animal sees the blue thorn and asks Robotnik where he got it from, and he tells the animal that he will lead him to a planet named Earth. A gang of bank robbers are on the lam from the police on a night in Seattle. As the group tries to flee, Sonic is about to do something and runs to the truck. The blue hedgehog then drives the truck, knocking out the driver, and makes a turn to halt the rest of the criminals in the rear of the truck. As a result, all the cash stored in the vehicle starts to pour out onto the streets. Sonic realizes that there is a civilian trapped in the back of the vehicle, along with numerous bombs that suddenly ignite and are about to explode. At that moment, Sonic tries to stop the vehicle but discovers that the brakes aren't working, so the only option is to throw the bombs in the back of a garbage truck because that way no one will be hurt by the explosion. When Sonic sees that his car is going to hit an ice cream truck, he takes out a screwdriver and uses his super speed to take apart the car. In this way, he manages to avoid the collision and helps the police catch the bandits. The next morning, after performing yet another heroic deed, the hedgehog returns to the small town of Green Hills and goes home to take a nap in his room. But AIE and Maddie come over to disturb him from his nap, and the woman tells him that Sonic has a fishing trip with Tom. On the boat ride, Sonic goes to sleep and falls into the water, but he is unable to swim, so he gets desperate and asks Tom to help him get back on the boat. Then the man admits that he went to Sonic's room the night before and he wasn't there. At that point, he realizes that the hedgehog had sneaked out once again to play at being a superhero and says that he can't keep doing that, as well as running the risk of having his identity exposed. Every time Sonic is around, there's chaos, and people's lives are in danger. When he hears this, the hedgehog starts to feel bad, as his big dream has always been to be a superhero. But Tom tells him that he's still too young and should wait for the right moment to use his powers to save the world. That weekend, Maddie and Tom take a vacation to Hawaii to attend Rachel's wedding. But the couple doesn't want to fly to get there, so they call Sonic to help them build an interdimensional portal that will transport them right to their destination. The hedgehog gives Tom a ring and tells him that it can help him get home. For the first time, Sonic will be home alone for 48 hours and decides to use this time to get up to all the mischief he's always dreamed of. Tails then arrives in the woods that afternoon, after having located Sonic's location by using a tracker. When it's dark outside and the hedgehog is picking a film to watch with AIE, the lights in the house go out and they hear a scary sound. Gradually, Sonic comes closer to the door and notices that the door handle is being broken. When the door opens, he sees Eggman and says that the villain has made a big mistake by coming there. In an attempt to provoke him, Robotnik says that he will make the hedgehog's entire family suffer. Upon hearing this, Sonic becomes furious. After that, as the blue hedgehog is about to strike, Knuckles comes out and punches his opponent. When Sonic is hit again, he decides to roll into his opponent at high speed, but Knuckles stops him with his fists. He then catches the hedgehog and says that he is there to do what his ancestors did not do: take back the power that was taken from his tribe, the Idas. As Sonic is about to be eliminated, a police car approaches and runs over Knuckles. Soon after, Tails comes along and tells the hedgehog to get in the car to get out of there. The Ida decides to pursue them, and while they are escaping, Tails introduces himself. The fox tells the blue hedgehog that it is an honor to meet it, and that Knuckles is the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy. Tails' goal is to claim the Master Emerald, and the Ida believes that Sonic is the one who can locate it. The pair narrowly escape being run down by a truck, but think they've finally eliminated their enemy, only to be pursued by Knuckles, who manages to catch up with the car. Tails tries to get rid of it by throwing the vehicle off a cliff, and on the way down, the fox flies with his tail. Tails rescues Sonic and Knuckles gets out of the car before it explodes, and they both make it back to the top. After seeing his targets flee, Robotnik decides to recruit a new ally for his team, and contacts Agent Stone, who is thrilled to see his master again. Immediately, he sends a spaceship to meet Dr. Eggman. When it arrives on Earth, it turns into a ship, which unleashes countless machines at Robotnik's service. The villain then offers Knuckles a new deal. He will assist the Akita in locating the Master Emerald if Knuckles will destroy the hedgehog. After being saved from being eliminated that night, Sonic goes to Wade's house and asks him for assistance in detecting determining why Knuckles thinks he is the one to find the emerald. While checking the drawings on the map he got from his late friend, Sonic comes across a hologram of Gamga, which was created to convey a message to him. The Master Emerald is on Earth and can make things come true when it comes to thoughts, and Sonic must protect it, or the whole universe will be in danger if it falls into the wrong hands, the owl says. The hedgehog receives Gerlong's message, picks up the map and decides that he must travel to Siberia to find the compass that will guide him to the emerald. When they get there, Sonic and Tails are surprised by a snowstorm, so they decide to take shelter in the first wooden tent they find along the way and discover that the place is a restaurant. As they wait for their orders, Tails tells Sonic that he has arrived on Earth to warn him that Robotnik is on his search for him. Soon after, when the food is served to the table, Tails says that he ordered the wrong food, and both he and Sonic are revealed to the rest of the table by the other patrons. When the group realizes that these are not human, they agree to throw the monsters into the fire, but are dissuaded when the fox proposes a different solution to the conflict. According to Siberian tradition, the customers immediately move the tables aside so that the dance contest can take place. When he realizes he's in front of professional dancers, Sonic asks Tails to accompany him, and the fox creates countless clones to enchant all the customers with his performance. Thus, the two win the competition and befriend the patrons of the restaurant. Hours later, when everyone is left, they decide to spend the night in the establishment to rest and continue their mission. The next morning at dawn, the two fly over the snowy mountains of Siberia and discover the cave that was marked on the map. After entering, they come across a gigantic gate, and Tails translates what is written on it. The scriptures tell of many ages past, when a band of fearless warriors called the Akitas combined the 7 Chaos Emeralds to make the most powerful weapon of all time, the Master Emerald. With it, a single warrior can defeat entire armies. However, believing that no one should possess such power, a group of owls banded together to take the emerald and swore to protect it to ensure that it never fell into the wrong hands. When he goes through the gate, Sonic comes across a gigantic statue and changes the sequence of symbols to activate the owl mechanism. Thus, the hedgehog is able to obtain the compass, but soon finds that he has been followed by Eggman, who sends his robots to surround them. Then, Robotnik shows up in his flying convertible and launches a missile at his opponent, but Sonic is quick enough to deflect it back at Robotnik, who is unable to dodge it and is killed. Suddenly, the statue is destroyed and the cave starts to collapse. Sonic and Tails see an opportunity to escape. The hedgehog and the fox are skiing down the snowy mountain when they separate in an attempt to get rid of the robots. The robots are blown up by Sonic throwing snowballs at them. Then, Knuckles suddenly seems to snatch up the compass and punches his opponent as they are slipping in the snow. Nearly knocked off a cliff, Sonic drops his rings at this point. When he realizes he's trapped, the hedgehog decides to give the compass to Tails and asks him to run far away. However, Robotnik appears just in time and manages to grab the artifact. He then attacks Tails with his missiles and leaves. When he sees his friend lying unconscious, Sonic rushes to his aid, and Knuckles leaves with Dr. Eggman. Seeing the hedgehog's attitude, Knuckles is surprised, as he didn't expect him to choose helping the fox over retrieving the compass. After a few minutes, a tremendous amount of snow starts to fall from the mountains and Sonic picks up Tails on his lap to attempt to avoid the avalanche. After losing all his rings, Sonic calls Tom and asks him to save him with his ring. The issue is that Tom and Maddie are in the middle of Rachel's wedding ceremony, and as the portal opens, a lot of snow falls, destroying the entire wedding. As Sonic attempts to wake up Tails, he is captured by a power grid, and Rachel learns that Randall and all of the guests he invited to the wedding are federal agents when she finds out that her fiancé set up the fake wedding only to capture the hedgehog. Rachel is angry, and Tom fights the agents who capture Sonic and Tails, but Randall is able to stun him and leads him to his room, while Maddie attempts to figure things out. After the events in San Francisco, the FBI established a worldwide task force to safeguard the planet from alien threats, Commander Walters said. Just then, Maddie says that Robotnik is back and that the commander has made a big mistake by arresting the only people who can stop him. When Walters leaves, Maddie and Rachel team up to break into the hotel and use an anti-gravity device to send one of the agents into space. This way they can get into the building, and Maddie sets out to find Tom, and Rachel sets out to find her fiancé to take revenge for being fooled. In the meantime, Maddie sneaks into the room where Tom and Sonic are being held and is able to free them. What the group can't imagine is that, at this point, Robotnik and Knuckles have just found the true location of the Master Emerald. Suddenly, Sonic sees a huge beam of light coming out of the ocean and realizes that Robotnik has found the jewel. Determined to protect his friends and make sure that none of them get hurt, Sonic decides to go and meet Dr. Eggman alone. Here, Tails awakens and attempts to follow him, but he is too weak to fly and tells the hedgehog that he needs to be helped, otherwise he won't be able to stop Knuckles. Immediately, Tom goes after Commander Walters and asks if he will help them stop Robotnik from destroying the planet. In Green Hills, Wade has a coffee break and discovers that his beloved coffee shop is closed. Curious to know why, he decides to snoop through the window and find Stone working on Dr. Eggman's plan. When he discovers that the owner of the coffee shop is actually an ally of the supervillain who almost destroyed the Earth, the policeman decides to take action and arrest him. To get to the place where the streak of light is coming from, Sonic has to cross the ocean, and even though he's afraid of drowning, he runs at high speed above water but ends up being hit by a huge wave. Luckily, after fainting, the hedgehog is carried to shore by the current and is surprised to discover that the Master Emerald has been hidden in an underwater temple. Now, Robotnik and Knuckles are attempting to navigate through the different traps that have been set in that labyrinth to retrieve the jewel, and they do just make it through to the halfway mark without being harmed. Once inside the temple, Sonic quickly discovers that there are all sorts of traps set up, so he resolves to use his speed to outsmart them all. When he finally reaches his final destination, Dr. Eggman comes across the Master Emerald and decides to eliminate Knuckles in order to get the jewel. But before Robotnik can destroy his ally, Sonic shows up and smashes through the ceiling to get to the main hall. The hedgehog runs to snatch up the emerald before his enemies can catch it, but Knuckles catches up at that moment. During the duel, Sonic ends up being hit and thrown into a waterfall. Knuckles wins his battle and climbs the stairs to collect the emerald, but Sonic comes back to fight him again and buries him in the ground with his spiky body. But Knuckles soon recovers from the attack and attempts to punch Sonic, but Sonic dodges all of Knuckles' punches. The two aliens are fighting while Robotnik steals the emerald. Knuckles becomes angry when he discovers that his partner has violated the deal they made, as he feels betrayed by a friend. Dr. Eggman then makes fun of the kid's naivety, and he finishes his robbery, taking the emerald with him. Once the jewel is taken out, the temple starts to fall and is flooded by seawater. As Sonic searches for a way out, he discovers that Knuckles is covered by the debris and decides to dive in and save him. Although he can't swim, the blue hedgehog uses a rock to get to the bottom and helps his opponent free himself. Immediately, the alien swims toward the surface to breathe, but Sonic can't keep up and ends up drowning. Then, when he realizes that the hedgehog can't swim, Knuckles comes back for him, and the two of them manage to reach the beach together. When asked why he risked his life to save his enemy, Sonic says that's what a superhero does and reveals that his biggest goal is to dedicate his life to helping people. Suddenly, Tails seems to save his friend's life and Sonic asks Knuckles to help him get the emerald back, as they can be more successful in this task if they work together. While Wade is trying to interrogate Agent Stone, Dr. Eggman appears and frees his ally. Once the jewel is stolen, Robotnik begins to act suspiciously, and when he sees Commander Walters and his army approaching, the villain gets ready to face them. Without making any effort, Dr. Eggman destroys a battle tank and then creates a hurricane to destroy all the agent's vehicles. Just then, a train comes by and it gets dragged off the tracks and into the cyclone. When Maddie and Tom see that apocalyptic scene, they soon realize that Robotnik is tearing everything down in order to create something even greater. One day, Sonic and his team teleport to Green Hills via a portal and run into the giant robot created by Eggman to thwart his enemy's plans to destroy the city. The hedgehog attempts to attract his attention and the plane Ison is finally bombed by hundreds of missiles. Fortunately, Tails manages to evade the attack, and the missiles burst in the mountains, far away from the townspeople. Relieved to have made it out unscathed, Sonic gets distracted and ends up being hit by one last missile. In the meantime, Knuckles is heading towards the traitor and punches the robot's hand. Tails then approaches and begins firing at the giant, but his plane gets crushed and he must use his tails to get away from the giant before he crashes and dies. It looked like the battle was over when Sonic appeared on the missile that had hit him and sent it back to Robotnik. Realizing that their best attacks weren't enough to defeat Dr. Eggman, the three allies decide to combine their powers and destroy all the little robots that try to attack them in order to get closer to their main target. As Sonic invites his enemy into the forest, Tails and Knuckles head to the robot's head to see if they can figure out a way to disable it. During his escape, the hedgehog is almost knocked out by the laser beams but narrowly manages to dodge the attacks. However, when he is crossing a bridge, he ends up being hit and is buried in the rubble after suffering a huge fall. At this point, Tails manages to break into the robot's car and uses his clones to try to confuse Robotnik, but ends up being hit by his laser beam. As the villain is about to kill him, though, he realizes that the fox was a decoy, and Knuckles is prepared to strike him with his punch, sending the emerald flying out of Eggman's body. In this case, The Supreme Robot is disabled and drops to the forest's edge. Sonic sees the jewel a few meters away, but after falling, he is seriously injured and can barely walk. Meanwhile, Robotnik is able to turn the robot back on and he is about to crush the hedgehog when Maddie and Tom are able to save him. To prevent the trio from escaping, the villain strikes the ground and causes an earthquake, causing the truck there to overturn. The Master Emerald is now the only thing Sonic has left to rely on, but all at once, the stone starts to get dull and crumbles in the hedgehog's hands. Robotnik encircles his victims in a ring of flames and waits to crush them. Just then, the 7 Chaos Emeralds fuse to the hedgehog's body, and he gains the power he needs to protect his family. After piercing the robot's foot with his body, Sonic rips the machine's head off, and Robotnik decides to go for it in one last attack, attempting to eliminate his opponent, who is now more powerful than ever. The man attempts to punch him, but Sonic blocks the attack and knocks the man's fist out. The hedgehog then throws himself at the machine to blow it up, and once again, Robotnik is defeated. When Sonic finishes his mission, the Emerald allows him to manifest a hot dog and then he takes the jewels out of his body. Maddie and Tom are happy to see their hedgehog again and go to hug him and ask Tails to join their family. Knuckles smelts the 7 stones and finally gets the Master Emerald but decides to turn it down. The Akita no longer wishes to bow to his desire for revenge, but his true purpose is to be by his new friend's side, so that together they may use their power to defend the universe. That day, Knuckles and Tails become the new members of the Wowski family and learn to have fun with humans. After taking part in a baseball game, the family decides to go for ice cream, and Sonic takes the Master Emerald with them in the car. In the Green Hills Forest, the commander and his agents are still looking for Robotnik, who fled after the battle with the hedgehog. Believing that no one would ever survive that fall, Walters comes to the conclusion that Dr. Eggman is eliminated and is told about a file that was lost in the FBI system more than 50 years ago. In this file are the coordinates for a secret research facility where the Shadow Project experiments are carried out. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.